Welcome back, everybody. You have been listening to All About Healing, and it is time for Emily's Energy Corner. That was a heck of a show. Dr. Alexandra Katehakis, and that is spelled Katehakis, Katehakis. And she is the clinical director and founder for the Center for Healthy Sex out in Los Angeles, California. And the website is centerforhealthysex.com. That's centerforhealthysex.com. She has workshops and weekend workshops. One is upcoming this particular weekend for women of sex addiction or love addiction. I'm sorry that I don't remember which one it was, but she said it on the show. I didn't realize that there's a difference between porn addiction, sex addiction, and love addiction. That's really fascinating. And I do agree with her that not enough people are talking about sex in a way that is healthy and that can help you in your life. And I also think that where you are in your relationship can be easily signaled by how often you are having sex. If people start to let it get too far away, there's some issues, and then it seems like once you have sex, you start to open up and be more communicative with your partner. So I think that's really important, and it's something that I do talk about a little bit. I'm not a sex therapist by any means, but I'm a body worker, and I do have a little bit of experience with where we store trauma, sexual trauma and things like that within the muscle system and within the body, and understanding the somatic emotions. Somatic means body. And in fact, my upcoming book, Whole Body Healing, I talk about a single sex practice and a partner sex practice and give some offerings in that. And then I also I talk about the somatic emotions. Nobody's actually created a somatic body emotion chart before, and I have created it. So hopefully in the book next spring, you will look at it and remember this conversation that I created a somatic emotion chart, because our body holds emotions slightly differently than the way that just our cognitive memory and mind do. Shame, for one thing, we understand it in our minds, but it sits differently in our bodies. I talked to a doctor of psychology who said in 30 years of practice, they've never had anyone come in and talk about shame. For me, in body work, I rarely know people that have emotional release that don't talk about shame. So those kinds of things are really important, because if something has happened to you without your permission, whether that is an assault, whether that is words, whether that is actual rape, whether that's anything violent, though, even the words, anything that comes at you without your permission that is hurtful, locks and loads into every cell of the body. And it's not just the cellular memory. Some people just get stuck on talking about cellular memory, but tissue memory and muscle memory are three different things as well. And the way that our bodies hold on to those memories is it's a vital piece of the healing puzzle, is that your body has to be willing to let go. And one of the greatest ways to let go, the greatest, is a deep-seated cry, the kind that comes from the heels of your feet up through your entire body and then out through every layer of the eyes, the mouth, the nose. Coughing is one way. Sneezing is actually something. Laughing is even a pain response. Tickle, not laughing, but tickling. If you're being tickled, it's a pain response. Obviously, cry is the biggest one. But your body is holding on to all your memories. And it is important that we get to a place where we're comfortable talking about sex and comfortable with what sex life we're creating for ourselves in our lives. So if you're someone who is single right now, you might be in a personal sex practice, and that's perfectly okay and healthy, very healthy. And if you're in a relationship, I hope that your relationship is healthy sexually and that you do have a good relationship. I personally, I'm married to the love of my life, and I'm very proud of how we work at our relationship, and sex is included in that. And we have different kinds, different moods, different things, but there's some that we'll do that's a sacred sex, and it's to manifest and to really come together and unite as one being through two bodies, and it's really powerful. And I actually give the opening sequence to that in my upcoming book about sacred sex and coming into a place where the sex can be used as a manifesting tool and as a spiritual practice instead of just a physical practice, because sex can be so many different things. And it's interesting. I'm going to go on a total side tangent, but people that used to go to war. So a lot of martial artists practice a particular style of orgasm where they don't ejaculate. Some of you guys that are listening to me right now go, yeah, that's me, that's me. A lot of martial artists, not a lot, well, whatever, maybe a lot of martial artists are people that study in meditation, Zen Buddhism, different Japanese martial arts, Chinese, whatever. They push on the perineum at the time of orgasm and they don't ejaculate. And that's to keep their energy, because there is a belief, and it's a very strong belief, and I believe it, that when a man ejaculates into a woman, they steal their seed. That's why the woman is so energized afterwards and the man is so exhausted. And so there are certain practices where they'll hold in the ejaculate so that they get to keep that primal energy. And the backings to it was because in the times of war, a man had to be ready to fight at any moment, whether that means they're having sex, whether that means they just had sex. They have to be able to get up and go. That's why those same practices do a meditation practice where the eyes aren't completely shut. They're just slightly slit at the bottom so that you can still see around you a shadow or a vision, so that if anyone tries to attack you from behind, even in a meditative state, you're always aware and ready. Those are those deep-seated meditation practices, and I come from that world. I studied Tai Chi and Kung Fu and different martial arts for a long time, and yoga. So I come from that background of some of this, and I'm grateful for it, because I do feel incredibly energized if we've had sex and they've ejaculated and all that. So I think that there's a lot of different practices in the world for sex that can be healthy and that can be individual for you. So if you feel out of sync in your body, or you feel out of sync in your sex life, or with a partner or by yourself, like people like Montauk Chia, you can look up his books for some of that Taoist philosophy in sex and the way that the energy runs. And then definitely reach out to the Center for Healthy Sex and ask some questions, get some guidance, maybe find a clinical director, person to help you through whatever it is that you're going through in your area. And I'm assuming that you can contact the Center for Healthy Sex out in Los Angeles and ask for people where you are living, what state, and have them help you find someone, because it is really important. Sex is a wonderful offering as part of your humanity. You are human. This is the place where you get to have sex. It's a physical, spiritual, energetic, emotional whole deal, if you want it to be. And I want you to have a beautiful sex life in your life. And I think that there's some power tools in there for you individually. You can really use it. You can use masturbation for serious manifesting. There's a beautiful practices out there. So I want people to feel a little bit more comfortable with this conversation. And I want people to explore their bodies. That's something that there's a lot of women that I wish I could just sit down and go, wow, you need to know what makes you tick. Because the men learn young and the women feel shamed and they don't learn quite young enough. And I think when you know what makes you tick, you become much more protective of your temple and don't give it away so quickly. And this has been all about healing, you guys. Make it a great week. Shoot me an email, and we're on live next week. We'll see you then.